Peace, and blessings, everyone. It is I, L. Parker, and I am back with another demonstration for you. So the goal here was a Living Foods sweet potato pie. And I started by washing my sweet potatoes and removing any straggling, they have these like little, pieces of the roots. They look like hairs or stems or whatever lingering on the potato. So I started by removing those and a good washing. Now it's important to cut these lengthwise, not across the middle or cross section, but you want to cut the sweet potatoes lengthwise as we are actually preparing to roast these sweet potatoes. Now for this recipe, I actually blended two different recipes that I found. One of them is called, if you do a Google search for an epic sweet potato pie by The Minimalist Baker. And then I'm also using a recipe for a squash pie, which is found in a raw food. She calls it Living Foods Raw Foods Cookbook by a chef India. So I'm kind of putting both of those recipes together to create my sweet potato pies. Now here you see I have all my sweet potatoes cut lengthwise, and I'm going to go ahead and roast them in the oven at 375 degrees. So we're going to get that preheating, get that going. Then I lined my cookie sheet here as I began to place the sweet potatoes onto the cookie sheet. And then what happened is I actually wound up, I did it incorrectly. So you want to put them face down if you're going to use a sheet or whatever it is you're using to roast your sweet potatoes. The instruction is to roast them face down with the skin on the outside. So I'm trying two different methods here. I'm using a cookie sheet, or, an aluminum pan. And then I'm also going to roast some of these in my cast iron skillet. I want to see if there is a difference in how they turn out. And I just love using cast iron. I guess any good home chef loves to use a nice cast iron skillet when we can. So now that I got those in the oven going, roasting, I'm going to get started on the crust for the pie. So for that, I'm going to go ahead and glove up. We're starting with about, 2 cups of soaked and rinsed raw pumpkin seeds. And then also about 3 cups of raisins. I found these organic California raisins at my local grocery outlet. Super happy for that deal. So I'm going to go ahead and start by adding my pumpkin seeds to the food processor, then the raisins to the food processor. We actually have a cup of dried goji berries, and then I'm peeling some ginger right here. And then we're actually going to be adding a tablespoon of fresh ginger to this recipe, and also a tablespoon of cinnamon and a pinch of salt. And all of that is going to get blended together to create our crust. So I start by, doing a little pulsing, a little chop in the food processor. Definitely want to, scrape it down so you make sure everything gets blended up together. So I'll give it a cycle or pulse it a little bit just to kind of get it going, and intermittently get in there and kind of scrape down anything that's not getting mixed thoroughly, so that I have a thoroughly mixed blend of whatever is in this food processor. So you can see how it's come together. It's kind of just the consistency. It's very, I would use the word malleable. And this is the result. So what I did was kind of measured it out using about, a half cup, just to kind of evenly measure it out to see how much these 9-inch pie pans would take. And then I just pressed it out evenly using gentle fingertips to kind of move the mixture and press it out evenly into the pan. Since this was my first attempt at this recipe, and actually my first attempt at a Living Foods pie, I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to bring the crust all the way up the sides of the pan, but ultimately I decided to go ahead and do that just to see how it would work. So I brought it up the sides of the pan, not just flat on the bottom, as much as possible. So this is the final result in working with the crust. The recipe actually gave me three full 9-inch pie crust. Now that I've completed that, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with my sweet potatoes. So when I pulled them out from roasting in the oven, you see what happened here with the ones that were in the pan on the cookie sheet versus the ones I roasted in the cast iron skillet. They are so pretty. I have actually 2 nice sized cast iron skillets. I wish I would have used both of those instead of that aluminum pan, but this is how we learn. So I'm going to go ahead and start by using the potatoes that I have from the cast iron skillet. And I need about 4 cups of the sweet potato for the recipe here. So you can see I'm just removing the softened sweet potatoes from their skin, pulling all of the meat out of the potato here. So this actually wound up taking about 3.5 potatoes to reach 4 cups. I love the color, it's so vibrant and pretty. So we're actually going to take this mixture once we reach 4 full cups, and it's going to go straight into the food processor. Of course, this is going to create our pie filling. Now I have my 4 cups of sweet potato, softened sweet potato. So I'm going to go ahead and add that to the food processor. Added to that is going to be a cup of the raw soaked pumpkin seeds, also a cup of cashews, which have been soaking and rinsed. And then we're going to add our spices and seasonings, some vanilla, some nutmeg, cinnamon, and a cup of maple syrup to sweeten. So there's no added sugar in this recipe. I did add a couple tablespoons of fresh ginger and a pinch of salt, and I believe this was a cup of water to the mixture. I'll make sure and put the exact ingredients below. But I blend all of this up, pureed in the food processor. And this is going to give us our pie filling, which I believe turned out lovely. It's nice and smooth, vibrant color. And I'm just going to use that by the cupful. I'm kind of measuring it out by the cupful to make sure I get an even amount in each one of my pie dishes, just to kind of see how much filling it will take for each pie pan. Smoothing it out, make sure it's nice and even. So I found that the recipe that I used gave me 3 full 9-inch pies. And I'm just still kind of smoothing it out, kind of making sure the filling is evenly distributed among each pie. I love this part of the process. It's kind of therapeutic for me. It's so soothing to my nervous system as well, just to see the smooth, and kind of come in and just smooth out the pie filling. I actually love this part. So you'll see just when I notice like one of the pans was fuller than the other, I just moved by the spoonful some of the filling over to the other pie pan. Another thing I had to figure out was how to dehydrate. Since my dehydrator doesn't really accommodate these pie pans, I did some research and found a chart online that described how to oven dehydrate and basically using a temperature guide. I decided to go ahead and dehydrate at 125. So you can dehydrate between 125 and 135 degrees while leaving the door propped open to get the dehydration effect. And this is the end result. So this is how my pies looked coming out of the oven. I wanted to go ahead and demonstrate and let you see what it looks like on the inside, because I'll be honest, I was a little nervous when I saw the tops and it kind of had the it looked like it may have been very dried, and obviously I still wanted my pie to be moist in the center. What I discovered is that although it did, take on these interesting shapes and look dried and cracked on the top, the center was still very moist and creamy. So the texture felt very similar to the sweet potato pie that I'm used to. As you can see how soft it is there. The fork gently, kind of cuts into it. Visually, you can see that although it looks very dry on top, the center is still vibrant with color and it's very soft and moist. Yet it's still firm enough that you can pick up an entire pie slice. So even the crust and everything firmed up very nicely so that you can cut out a slice of the pie and handle it by hand. And I actually love the results. I wound up making this pie a couple more times and it turned out great each time. My favorite way to enjoy it is with some vegan whipped cream on top, or maybe a glass of cold almond milk. Delicious. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, definitely feel free to let me know. I hope you're able to try this recipe for yourself and enjoy this no egg, no sugar, no flour, sweet potato pie. Bye for now.